And then I decided, because I got back into Honkai Star Rail, which is, I talked about that last week. So I decided, you know what, Woolie, since you got all into Nikke, Goddess of Victory, which somebody pointed out to me is only called Nikke because they can't call it Nike. Because Nike is the Goddess of Victory.
The Nike is copy. Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm like, you know what, I'm going to play a bunch of phone games that have PC clients, and I'm going to just figure out, like, yeah, what's the deal with Limbus Company or Punishing Gray Raven or AFK Journey or Nikke? And that was a eye-opening experience. That was magical. So those are the 4 that I'm like, I'm going to do these 4. And 10 minutes before I start the stream, I start getting tweets from people who recommended AFK Journey and go, hey, so I shouldn't have recommended that. That game is actually shit. And I got a DM going, hey, man, sorry, I shouldn't have done that.
Just getting excited on the idea and then going, wait, hold on a minute. I actually hate this. I didn't think about it deep enough.
It's wild.
It's like that sounds like you know, like the gacha hooks grabbed on and like they went through the motions and then went, yeah, I've been playing that a bunch, therefore let's recommend it.
I've never encountered that in my fucking
Wait
life.
a minute, I hate this actually.
This is the more intense version of when we've asked people, hey, I would like to, do you guys want to see this on stream? And people go, yeah. And you go, do you want to, or do you want to see me stream it once and then tell me you'll watch it, but then disappear? Right. And they go, you got me. It's like the next level of that shit. So, all right. So I'm like, well, I'm not going to fucking start with the AFK Journey. That just seems like a bad idea at this point. We can intersperse that. So I'm like, okay, Limbus Company. A lot of people way into that game. And you can tell how into people that game are, because when I posted it, I had like people just appear out of fucking nowhere to be like, listen, man, you got to watch this 20-minute video tutorial on how to play the game.
Yeah, you do.
And just like, hey, man, I'm gonna Monster Hunter Sherpa you through this Limbus Company. I'm like, I'm not gonna do that, because I'm of the opinion that if a game is free to play, that it has to beat the impetus of me downloading it in the first place, which is, ooh, pretty picture.
Yep.
And then it is up to its onboarding process to sell me.
Yes.
Normally, trailers, previews, demo, etc. would be the part to sell me on a purchase.
So, case in point, Nikke, I saw Gene posted a video of it.
Yeah.
And, like, asses were jiggling.
The live action one?
No, it was just gameplay. Yeah. Asses were jiggling
all over the place,
but gameplay was also happening.
Yeah,
and I was like, "That looks like cool cover shooting."
Okay, yeah,
I'm gonna download.
Yeah,
so it sold me on its actual thing. Yeah.
So I start up Limbus Company, and that is a strange fucking game. So it's a Korean game.
What is the genre?
I don't know. I fucking couldn't tell you.
Okay.
So I start it, and a bunch of things start to happen all at once. First of all, for the entirety of the game's tutorial, on every screen, there's a fucking button in the top right corner of the screen that says skip. And it's not skip the current shot scene. It's not skip the fucking sentence that's on screen. It's, do you want to skip the entire onboarding process?
Oh.
And...
Okay.
And I'm like, people are like, just skip it to get to the good part. I'm like, I don't know what the fucking good part is. I'm not gonna hit that. The second thing that you notice is that the author of the story is a literature nerd.
Okay.
And it's like, hey, I read Dante's Inferno and Don Quixote, so I'm gonna put characters named after Dante's Inferno and Don Quixote into my game.
Right.
And the third thing is that whoever translated it did a bad job. Okay. And I saw I'm of a very strong opinion that at the very least the initial translation is very poor, and I had a little bit of back and forth of people saying like, I don't understand why you're saying it's poor. I could understand what everyone was saying, and it's technically intelligible, like meaning it does get across, but not a single person in the entire game talks like a human being would ever speak to another human being in English. Okay. It is all very strange, stilted, bizarre dialogue.
Is it masturbatory? Like it's too in love with its
own
words?
My god, is it?
type of thing.
So like you'll get the team of losers that you're going to be using as your units, because it's like a weird JRPG, like kind of like a JRPG fighter, I guess. You're selecting units and you're selecting all their actions.
Sure.
And they're like, here's the cast, and then you just sit there and like the fucking casts, it introduces themselves to you like one by one by one by one by one. And they'll give you the blurb, and then you see a fucking full page, like fancy font, explaining the character and explaining what their personality is and explaining how you should handle them. And I'm like, is there a mechanic in the game where you actually manage these characters? No, there is not. That is purely flavor.
Okay.
And they just tell you all of themselves in a row, and then they force you to pull, and you discover that the entire game's gacha system is to get different versions of these characters that I don't like.
Okay.
And then they force you into multiple battles that use like an alpha version of the game's combat engine, which is totally inscrutable and does not have the full set of in-game animations. Like, it feels like you are playing a prototype of its own game as the tutorial.
What? Okay. And is this because the full version is going to have like all more mechanics and shit involved?
Oh yeah, like the whole game. The whole
complex,
game
I
is
guess?
based on like you're selecting, like you're dragging a selection wheel from left to right. I mean, like, I want this guy to do this action, and then a down for this action. I want to match the colors and all that. But then there's a coin flip coin flip mechanic.
Okay.
That isn't in the fucking tutorial, but it's like the game's main mechanic, and the tutorial dialogue is translated by like a weirdo that I don't understand. Like, I got through 2-point-something hours.
Okay.
And went, I don't understand a single thing about this. The story is written and translated, like, it's translated poorly. There's no desire for me to ever roll on this. The combat either seems insanely complex or automated. One or the other. I can't tell which one it is. It is like one of the worst first impressions I have ever had for any game. And it's a game that is like living and dying off its first impression to get me to keep playing.
Yeah, like you have to kind of fall in love with either the gameplay system or the characters to bother putting... Because that's all there is. That's all these things have.
Yeah.
It's one or the other, right?
And like, I had this moment where I'm like, okay, here's your mandatory gacha roll, which is part of the onboarding for all these. And it's like, you got the ninja version of the redhead. And I'm like, I don't like her.
Mm-hmm.
I dislike her.
Mm-hmm.
Great. That's super. And I actually got to see, like, when I switched that character's archetype from one to the other, I'm like, oh, wow. Every year they updated every new version of a character has better animations than the last one,
Right.
but then they never went back to change any of the
older
originals.
ones.
So like the start of the game is like by far the shittiest, ugliest part.
Man.
And it's crazy. It's crazy. And I was like, this is one of the worst onboarding I've ever played. But I know that there's something there because the freakazoids in my chat and in my Discord messages and my Twitter DMs that were like, I love this game so much, it's my favorite game.
Get past this point.
They're like, yeah, no, that part is terrible. It's not unfair for you to shit all over it, but it is really good later though. And I'm like, I believe that. I'm just kind of shocked that they never went back and like cleaned that up.
If I was hitting the point of like mental checkout on the onboarding, I would definitely just skip to see what the full thing looked like, to just be like, what is it that's grabbing people?
Yeah.
You know?
The problem there is that like when you look at Limbus Company, it is incomprehensible. Like you're selecting, you're like doing like Bejeweled match 3, but it's all different attacks, and there's coins flipping, and the coin values are playing against each other. And like I said, it's like it's either completely automated or it's insanely complex.
Okay.
And I think the answer is that it is both.
There's puzzle games happening inside of the RPG combat.
It might be both.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah. I'll take that opportunity to also say that with automated combat and the auto button, I have heard loud and clear.
Oh, we'll get there. We'll get there. We'll get there. We'll get to the goon button.
Yes.
We will get there.
Yes. The automatic play button is in every gacha game.
Every single one.
And it's to help you get through it without playing
every single one.
When it's too monotonous. It's not about the goon button.
It might be.
It's a no. It's no. Does Wooly know it's not about the goon button? It's not about the goon button. He might know it. It is about the I need to get my results, but I don't actually want to play this game.
That sounds like gooning to me.
Oh, mental gooning.
Yeah, mental
gooning. Yeah. Yes. Got it. Yeah.
So,
all right, got it.
So I'm like, okay, Limbus Company, you had your shot. I gave you way longer than I thought I was going to give you. So let's move on to AFK Journey, a game that people shit on right before I started. I'm like, all right, let's load it up. Wow, really pretty graphics.
And it has a fucking JoJo tie-in this week.
It does? Which one?
So just this week, we're talking because Nikkei has the fucking Titanfall that just dropped in it. And it's like,
that makes perfect sense.
You seen that shit? It's like, yeah. And then I was like, what the fuck is this thing? And they just showed off a Path to Nowhere cross JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Stone Ocean thing. So Jolene, Weather Report, and FF are gonna be inside of
which one is this?
Path to Nowhere.
Okay.
So there is a mobile game tie-in that has JoJo shit going down.
Well, there you go.
And it's like, yeah,
get in, loser.
That's how, but then you look at the gameplay,
it's like,
and it's a fucking grid with.
Yeah, I will say, Limbus Company definitely exemplifies like it's a visual novel that happens to have a game in it because the visual novel parts, like I'm not big on the style, but it's like very competently like pretty looking. Like Korean style, like drawn visual novel.
Okay.
And then you get into the gameplay, and it looks like a fucking
was the one
sub-ground
with the,
DS game. The characters have like singular frames of animation. You're like, oh my fucking god, Jesus Lord, right? And so that made a really big difference when I load up AFK Journey because AFK Journey, very beautiful. Mm-hmm. Very beautiful game, really stylish, good animations, and then we start, and this is when I immediately start to give Limbus Company some props. And it's some props that I didn't think a game could get. So I load up AFK Journey, and the AFK Journey throws you into the fucking game so fast that I'm like, can I please full screen this? No, fuck off. Because they just took the fucking phone app and fucking direct ported it onto your PC. So the options menu is inside the in-game settings after the game's intro and tutorial.
And it's stuck with the resolution.
Yeah. So I decided, listen, if games are going to fucking do this to me, I could use display capture and like cut it out all nice. But no, fuck it. I'm going to show it inside an ugly border.
Yeah.
And I play AFK Journey and I'm like, oh, I'm a wizard and I'm going to do all this shit. And I'm like, what do I do? Okay, I move from here to here. Okay, I got an item. And a screen showed up and said I leveled up. And I did a fight. And then I clicked on the guy. And then it completely auto-battled for me. There's absolutely no version of any in control, anything at all. And then a fancy cutscene started playing. And I got about 10 minutes in. And I'm like, this is a completely fake video game.
So the name of it makes me think that someone went, hey, remember Progress Quest?
Yes.
What if we actually gachaed that?
Yeah. Progress Quest had shit going on in it, though. Compared to this,
you didn't choose anything, but
yeah, whatever.
But the gimmick ran.
Like AFK Journey is a completely fake video game. You might as well be watching flashing lights and going and clapping for pretty colors.
Okay,
it is crazy.
Okay,
it is the fakest fucking shit. And the fact that I'm sitting there going like, wow, being able to choose my in-game options before the game started. Wow, Limbus Company. Didn't think I was going to give you props for that.
Right.
But I am. Good for you. Wow, amazing.
So I remember Progress Quest, and I enjoyed Progress Quest because it ran in the background while I was at work.
See, that's nice.
And then I would check in on it every once in a while and be like, oh, what the fuck's going on over here? Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
I did this and I collected that. That's okay, cool. And then you just ignore it. Mm-hmm. For anyone who doesn't know, Progress Quest is literally, it's a fake game that just plays itself. And then as a bar goes up, you level up and things start happening. But it's just a joke. And then that got taken seriously and turned into this. Then.
Yeah. There's nothing. I don't think I played it for longer than 10 minutes.
Oh, wow.
It was like completely fake.
Okay.
And I'm like, speaking of fake, let's go on to Nikkei. let's fucking go. Okay. So I hit up Nikkei, and Nikkei again doesn't on the PC client. It's like, no, you can't choose your resolution. You can't full screen this.
But if you did, like, it would be just a vertical strip, right?
No, because the in-game actually fits the widescreen.
You can play horizontally?
Yeah, but only on the PC client.
Oh.
Right? So it's like, okay, I'm playing this game in a fucking window, a small-ass window, and it looks stupid, but okay, let's go.
Okay.
And, yeah, that game's got a bunch of fat asses and tits all over it.
It sure does.
It sure does.
But it's actually a cover shooter.
But like more than that, like even before moving on from that, like they have that like I don't know what's called like soft 2D or some shit like
live 2D.
Live 2D.
Yeah.
And it's like I'm looking at Marion with her hat, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like. You would normally be like, oh, they're jiggling or they're like undulating, but they're not. They're fucking flopping. Like these women are flopping their shit around, and they don't look human.
Because they're not.
It's yeah, but like you know the fucking like how'd somebody describe it? Like artist who has only drawn pre-cum trying to draw sweat. Like they like nothing about these characters looks close to how any human being would like physically function at all.
Yeah.
Like to the point where it almost becomes non-sexual in its like extremity.
Every character does feel like they're inside of a glass tube filled with liquid.
Yeah, absolutely.
And because hair and gravity are just not applying.
Like they're just fucking floating.
They're floating
In a fucking. Do you want your sex tube?
Yeah, they're floating in a tube, 100%.
And then the story starts to actually fucking do things. And I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
I'm playing it. I'm like, it's a fairly simple cover shooter, but like things are happening and I am hitting buttons and I am playing the game and the PC client is not the one to play. This is the phone game built for your fucking telephone. Like the everything other than a vertical screen is obviously dumb shit. And things are okay. Like it's okay.
So I got to
right.
End of the tutorial, and I was like, okay, I see what you're doing here. You know, like it's like this. It felt
there's stuff here.
There's stuff going on. Yes, and the thing is that like between the no battery thing, because like that's really nice.
So instead, it has a vicious difficulty wall.
Right. So what happened was I did a mission where it's like an EX mission popped up over here, and I was like, ooh, let's walk back and see what that is.
Yeah.
And it's like, go fuck yourself. You're nowhere near strong enough. But like,
and the music's really good.
The music is really good.
That's shockingly good.
And like when a boss fight sequence occurs and it's a big like cinematic fight, it's like, oh shit, like we're cover shooting again, like fighting a big train, you know? And it's like everything is like really like it's like, yeah, no, this looks good. And the actual system of like, paying attention to what you're targeting, thinking about how long it takes for this type of weapon to fire, to
reload, and whose super is building up.
Switch over to the sniper that can go to the distance and shoot that thing that's way back there before anything gets close.
Absolutely.
That's a lot of fun, you know?
There's slow down depending on who's super. And like, they decided to make a phone game, and they decided to make like the best cover shooter they could make for a telephone. And then, because everyone on this team is a fucking filthy degenerate, decided to just fucking get the big fucking silicone syringe and just start pumping. And what killed me is I'm halfway through playing the section where I'm playing Nikkei, and I'm like, oh my god, somebody mentioned Stellar Blade.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and like, no, it's the same people.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, of fucking course it is.
Yeah.
Of course it's the same people making Stellar Blade.
But the again, the shiniest booty. But the fact that this is it's a cover shooter that is like something I would play regardless of the filter dropped over this. But
Yeah.
regardless of the gacha elements or whatever, I would be interested in playing this game that works this way. Is like that's how you get me to pay attention to
But
something.
also, I'm not gonna lie and say that they're like, oh, gross.
No,
Ew.
But like I said,
ooh.
when I see the character designs, and I'm like, appeal to me, the big full suit armor and helmets and shit. And then this week they're like, by the way, here's a Titan.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Is that
okay.
this week?
Apparently, that's coming out this week. Yeah, they just advertised it. You know? And that's like a Kum Hye Hun style like robot that it's an actual robot that's shooting and jiggling when the fight is happening, and then like a cute girl pops out every once in a while.
Sometimes,
you know.
So I think I had like the ultimate possible. Oh, that's a rope. That's just a fucking robot.
It's a fucking robot. Exactly.
That's just a fat robot.
Yeah.
That thing looks cool.
It looks cool. That's it. You get my attention.
I think I might have had like the absolute best experience, like the most honest gacha fucking experience conceivable, where I beat the tutorial. I'm like, I fucking beat the tutorial. Great. And then I'm like, now I'm going to go into the options. And they let me choose every option possible except for the one that changes my screen size. So I'm still trapped in a fucking window and can't even do anything.
Okay.
And then I'm like, okay, here's my gacha roll. I'm going to roll it. Oh, cool, I got a character. And then I look over at the little box on my second monitor where chat is. Like, how is my character good? That character's shit. You should re-roll. You should make a new account. And I'm like, you know what? I think I'm done for Nikkei today. Okay. I think immediately having to. Oh, terrible! Start over. Good. Yeah. Now I'm got people in my chat teaching me how to salt my email. I don't know what that fucking means.
I have no idea.
You're all sick.
And I'm also not... I'm too low level to do a bunch of shit, apparently. But one thing I did learn is the unviable garbage tier shit grunts that I love.
Yeah.
You can just spend the stupid upgrade gems to make them strong enough to do the main missions.
And I also found out that some of the SSR Nikkeis are so bad that the generics are better than
okay, well there you go. Yeah. So no, that's it. I'm kind of like, I will run a bunch of low level grunts and then just juice them so that they can handle the missions and we're fine. So yes, that's the one with actual games.
Shocked.
Yeah.
I was shocked.
Yeah.
Cuz like it's easy to discount it because it's just aggressively flopping at you.
And you have to lift a titty to get to the gameplay.
And I'm
you have to get to the menus.
There's something in here.
There's just you have to move them aside.
There's something happening, and it's not my fucking dick.
You know, and like no, when you open up the ass crack and look beyond the valley, there's a story thing happening.
Okay,
you know, there was a story beat at the end of that tutorial that was pretty solid.
So I was like, wow, Nikkei, wow, I'm shocked. I had such a good time with that. But then I'm like, you know what we're going to play next? We're going to play the one that I'm really interested in, the one that looks like a Devil May Cry game, the one called Punishing Gray Raven.
The
one that's a fucking character action game. Punishing Gray Raven.
PGR.
So, good name for a character action
cool name.
Game.
Yeah.
And I look at it, I'm like, so it's that thing where, you know, hey man, you got to get into Monster Hunter. Oh, really? What's Monster Hunter about? So nobody sends you, here's the first 2 fights in Monster Hunter. They send you, hey, you're going up against Tigrex or some shit, and they show you doing all sorts of cool Monster Hunter shit. So Punishing Gray Raven is like that. Like, hey man, what's Punishing Gray Raven like? I was like, let me show you this shit.
Yeah.
And it's the EX2 super common rider, but like,
and it's not the fucking Great Jagras.
No, it's
crawling
like,
through the forest going.
And it's just a million moves a second.
Yeah.
You're like, there's a fucking game here. And then you start Punishing Gray Raven, and hey, look at that. Stuck in a window again. Oh, yeah, here we go.
So I take it that the highest priority is not people in your situation trying to play this on a desktop
the PC clients are like absolute afterthoughts. Like, and so this is one of those things like MiHoYo and like Genshin and Star Rail and incoming Zenless Zone Zero and Honkai, Third Impact. It's like, I was not aware of one of the reasons why Genshin blew up so big is that it has a functional regular PC client that works like a PC game.
Okay.
It has controller support,
And,
that is normal.
And consoles too, right?
Yeah, and
Genshin on consoles. Yeah. And you can just load your account on anything.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, there you go.
And so like, oh, it works like a fucking video game. So I load in Punishing Gray Raven.
Yeah.
And it's like, visual novel, you know, I can't remember a single detail about any of the startup because it just reads like anime bullshit. I'm like, okay, though, I'm playing a character, I'm moving around.
Mm-hmm.
WASD to move. Okay, that's great. It has controller support, so
Okay.
I'm gonna go to the I can't go to the options. Okay, so controller support will wait for later. All right, that's fine. So I'm WASD. Let's move forward. And what's the attack button? You want to don't look at that chat. What's the attack button?
Swipe up.
Oh no, you stupid bitch! It's J on the keyboard. Because the PC controls that you can't change for the entire intro sequence are assuming you're touch typing like an old man.
Oh, okay.
So J is attack.
Okay.
And K
JK,
is dodge.
JKL,
and L
JKL
is
colon.
alt. And colon is, and it's just like,
yeah.
Fuck.
Okay, that's old. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Okay, it's and you play it.
Join a key? Could you? I mean,
You could, but it has control. It has controller
official
support.
controller support, right? Okay.
It does.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And so, like, okay, well, I'll get through the tutorial, and it's like, this tutorial is very, very old, and so much like many of these other ones, it's like there is a chasm of quality between the first things they made and the things they're making now.
Right.
So the character that you start with has like 2 buttons, and that's it. It's like an auto combo, and it's like a special. And it shows up on the screen. It goes, hey, here's a match 3 button mechanic that I can't intuit that's clearly made for phones. You just hit that button and you'll do like a stinger, and it's not clear why that happens.
Okay.
Or what shows up or why. It's 3 ping orbs. 3 ping orbs.
Okay.
Says someone. Oh, okay. And then I get into like a boss fight, and it's like I've kind of acclimated to my controls, and I'm like, okay, I'm having a boss fight. Like, this is a real boss fight. And I lose, because you lose, and it goes into more nonsensical anime cutscenes, and then I'm like, oh, cool, I've made it to the main menu. I've made it to like a real main menu.
Right.
All right, let me full screen this. Oh, I can't. Okay, that's great. I can get my controller working though.
Okay.
Oh, cool. Oh, the controller support is really bad.
Let me
It's
guess.
really bad.
It doesn't apply to menus, only to gameplay.
It does apply to some menus, but you should probably still use your fucking mouse to do that.
Yeah.
But more than that, it's like, hey man, here's the buttons are just willy-nilly all over the place as to what is. Hey, you've done a lot of compliance.
Yeah.
So this shit doesn't give a fuck about compliance. If you were to say on a Japanese or Korean video game with a PlayStation controller, what would be back out of a menu?
I mean, B.
Yeah, or circle, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah, all right. What you think would be accept?
X.
Would you actually try that again and say right on the D-pad?
Okay. So with some games, when you just install a library for generic controller support and then you never look at it a second time, what they'll do is they'll go button and D-pad inputs. They'll just go button 1 through 9 or 14 and then D-pad inputs, and they'll just drop them in chronological order regardless of how they actually map.
Yeah.
And go, we got controller support, it's fine.
Right. So, hey, you can totally mix and match your controls, and that's fine. But it's like, hey, you know what's going to be your controls? It's going to be L1 and R1.
Okay.
R2, and then all of your ping orbs are on the fucking face buttons, and I don't understand that shit at all.
This is an action game, right?
Yeah, sure is.
You're like, yeah.
And then I'm talking to people afterwards, I'm like, so how long am I trapped with that character that plays like shit? And they're like 8 chapters. And I'm like, oh, this fucking sucks, dude. I can now see with absolute certainty. Apologies, my little man is having trouble downstairs.
He
guys.
hates it too.
He also hates
it. Sounds like 8 chapters is
and
way
I'm
too
like,
many.
Like MiHoYo having games that look like normal fucking games is a massive step up.
Right.
Massive. Like, it is like Atari to the Super Nintendo. It is crazy.
Just tap it in. Just a show up and work on multiple platforms.
It is astonishing.
Okay.
It is now like a no shit no brainer.
Okay, but think about the Pal World devs being like, we're making too much money, we don't know what to do.
Well, that's what happened to MiHoYo.
Okay.
Because they made these kinds of like ghetto ass bullshit loser phone games, and they made enough of that Honkai shows up, and Honkai's like a real game, but Honkai's fucked up when you start too. And then they made Genshin, and they're like, hey, here's a real video game.
Because there's a studio, and there's like 40 people, and 38 of them are just like, yo guys, check out these titties, and everyone's like, yo,
yeah.
And then there's one idiot in the corner that's like taking care of the desktop shit,
yeah,
and dealing with the controller or whatever, and everyone else is just like, we play it on our phones and we draw the titties. What the fuck you want, you know? So like, it is not a priority, and like, you're the edge case user, that is like, I would like this to work in this thing that you say officially supports, the game supports, but it is not a priority, and furthermore, you're not wailing on the PC client.
No.
So why does your opinion matter?
I want to try this out and see what's going on, right? And so like my takeaway is the game that I initially and overtly respected the least by far, which was Nikkei. I walked away going like, yeah, the PC client's a little rough, but it's obviously for phones. But like, they're like cooking something here.
Wow.
Like, there's something here. Like, yeah, we're flopping, and it's like, okay, I can do that. But also, there's shit here
by virtue of comparison.
And like, I never thought.
Yeah.
And it's this weird thing of because like these are Chinese, Japanese, Korean games, right? And they're being developed like sequentially.
Yeah.
Like, here's the first level, and that's what the game comes out with. And then we're going to build the second level, right?
We'll come back around.
And as a result, they are built the opposite of almost every game anyone listening to this ever plays. Because all of those games had their first levels built last. Because the first level is the most important level. And had the most polish. And had the most work put into it. And so, like, it's people have been describing it in chat right now as the A Realm Reborn problem.
Okay.
Of like, A Realm Reborn is still like a regular fucking video game. Like, but it's a little weak here and it's old here. And it's people say, well, you got to get through A Realm Reborn to get to that good stuff, right? But with Punishing Grey Raven and with Limbus Company, it's a fucking chasm between what I'm going to assume is an 8 or 9 out of 10 and like a 2.
Right.
And it's huge.
Because it's like, it's not like the phone game is being built with the same type of vertical slice your AAA is being built with. And yeah, and I guess too, like as the money comes in, then they can afford to make the whole thing as pretty and as gorgeous as possible, but you don't actually go back. Because does anyone ever, are there any games that do go backwards after the success and spend the money on the old shit?
Honkai Third Impact by MiHoYo went back and cleaned up the very beginning of the game. But they didn't clean up the second and third parts of the game.
Okay.
And they just said part 2, they just put out part 2, which is, hey, fuckheads, new storyline, start here. Like, you don't need to do that
Don't
shit.
even bother.
Here's the new shit.
Okay.
Just start here.
New intro.
But you still have to go through some of the ancient shit to get there.
Okay.
So you're ping-ponging over what
Inequality.
got made when and the whole fucking thing, and it's super weird.
I mean, even Vampire Survivors went and said, hey, we drew new sprites. You know what I mean? With their success.
Yeah, the closest I can come up with, I saw somebody say it in chat, the closest analog is Warframe. Warframe got built like these types of games, and Warframe has had multiple different openings over the years.
Okay.
And it's always this weird thing where you're like, wow, they remade the first part and maybe the second part, but then you slam into the third part, which is 8 years old, and you're just like, what? Why? And all of them have massive things in common. Wow, there's a lot of currencies. Wow, there's a lot of currencies.
That video of Overwatch 2.
So
I'm like, is this
Overwatch 2
joke?
has 6 currencies now.
Is this a real thing? Like,
So it's
backing out to the client to reveal a secret new currency.
it's this
Holy
wild
shit.
thing that all the free to play games have, which is like, listen, you know how sometimes Tekken will obfuscate how many Tekken points are $1?
Yeah.
Well, the free to play game, which lives and dies off tricking people into pumping the money in, is going to go, listen, here's 10 fucking currencies. Good luck. Good fucking luck figuring out how money turns into these things. Right?
God.
And that's when Genshin and Honkai get super weird, because when I'm upgrading a character in Star Rail and it goes, you need 30 Baphomodads.
Yeah.
I click on it and it goes, here's where you got to earn that. And it teleports me to the location. And if you're going to do that, why can't I just have one upgrade material? That,
Yeah.
like, it's much better and much more useful.
So this is what came up when I was playing Mega Man Cross Dive offline.
yeah.
Right? Which was just like, okay, so these seasonal release characters have these event tokens,
Yeah.
but the specific type of event token that you need to unlock Dante and Virgil versions of Mega Man and Zero
Yeah.
is some other unexplained thing with no tutorial for it, but it's just an icon you stare at and it
Yeah.
says, you don't have this, fuck you.
Yeah.
You know? And it's like the level of obfuscation for just like tricking people into spending their money and not knowing.
Yeah.
Like that happened 4 currencies ago.
Yeah.
You know, what's the point of getting to 6 at that? Like, I don't
So
get-
there's a secondary problem for that, and it's a game design problem, and that is when you put out the new character, you kind of don't want people to have saved up 4 years of currency to just instantly redline
Crush
the
it right
character
away.
right off the gate.
Yeah, okay.
Right. So like, I was playing Star Rail and I got the banner character Acheron, and her upgrade materials require like a mid-game quest, and it's like so that you're somewhat unlikely to have just brutalized your way with 1 million resources saved up. However, and here's where it gets really strange, that's the idea, but then part of the anniversary event that Acheron comes out during is, yeah, you can teleport to areas that have the upgrade materials from the end of the game now, and you can just skip that part and upgrade these characters now. I'm like, what? Why are you're causing a problem, and then you're handing a really easy solution to it right away.
And but also, like, if people save up and have the ability to afford the thing, and okay, I guess because it's like something new drops, and it's like don't have someone that has saved up a bunch of in-game currency, let them get it right away. But you can spend real cash to just grab that right away.
Not necessarily.
Really?
Not necessarily.
You can't just buy your way out of all time.
No.
Interesting. I would have assumed that would be like the impatience dollar.
No.
Was in the
No.
high
valuation. You would think.
Huh.
But like that would probably lead to people just spending X amount of dollars and doing everything instantaneously and then putting the game down.
And then stop playing the game. Right. You got to save people from themselves.
Kinda to some degree.
Yeah.
So now we're back in my mind to Nikkei, and we're back to the goon button.
Okay.
And I think the goon button or the autoplay button is actually really vital for these types of games. And for Nikkei, what's way more interesting than the goon button is the super animations and when they play. So the super animations, when you activate a super in Nikkei, play, and the next time you activate them, they don't. and I couldn't figure out why sometimes they activated and sometimes they didn't. They activate once a day, like every 24 hours.
Is that what that is?
That is what that is. They activate once a day so that you see it and you go, ah, cool. But then the next time you're not sitting around waiting for it. You can turn that off. You can make it play every time or never.
Yeah, I think right now for me it plays each time, because going through it was like do first, second, third burst, you know. But and I would see the sequence
it's like,
play
listen, the cool animations are cool, but maybe you don't want to see them every day. In fact, when you're doing your daily, you would want to see them once. And part of the thing is that, like, so I'm playing Star Rail. When I play Star Rail and I'm not like sitting down to play it like a game and I'm like I'm gonna do the story, I'm gonna do side quests or whatever, I spend like 6 minutes banging out those dailies. And the thing is that I have built a team that can do those dailies instantaneously.
Okay.
They're so overtuned for those things that actually hitting the buttons would be a massive waste of time.
Okay.
So it makes a lot more sense to everyone who played Final Fantasy 12.
Okay.
Because if you've kitted out your Gambit system FF12 gang strong enough, playing the game is a waste of time. Until I was auto battling through some of the content because, like, oh, you know, I built my team correctly. I know what I'm doing. And then I got to, and Star Rail players would know this, I got to the emanation, what's it called? The Emanator of Propagation boss fight, which I hit auto battle in, and it wiped me in like a minute.
Okay.
Like, just stomped my whole ass. And then I had to spend like the better part of like 3 hours, not just actually fighting it and figuring out what I had to target when, but like I had to rebuild my fucking team.
Reconfiguring it.
Because the team I had made sucked for that boss fight.
Huh. So what I thought was useful was the fact that auto battle was broken up into like shooting and supers.
Yeah.
Because the supers popping up was like, I got the tutorial and how that and how to use that, but I'm like, I can't focus on that right now because I'm still getting used to everything else about the system. So I put the supers to auto while learning the rest of it. But the idea of like some of those fights would go by so quickly, or those stages where the boss shows up and you kill it right away and then it blows up, where I was like, am I playing incorrectly by killing the boss too quickly?
No, that's a reward for doing it correctly.
I guess. So yeah, that's where I was like, oh, maybe I'm supposed to stall out and kill more things. You
built your shit correctly.
Okay.
Like if you've built, like, because there's the 2 gameplays for like a huge variety of these. There's like Honkai Star Rail is an RPG that has 2 buttons. It has attack, it has special attack. And then when you have your meter, it has ultimate. And half of the fight against a tough boss fight is, when do I heal, when do I attack, when do I get skill points, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. But the other half is building that team to synergize with each other.
So I can dig that if it's handled in a Unicorn Overlord type way. Yeah. Where I feel like I put the football
there's a lot of moving parts in
play together to create that thing. Even if it's like there's an optimized strategy for how to pair up archers with the right class and do the thing. But like if I'm playing the game and it's like it's doing the dailies and I didn't have to do much and you click it and it plays itself, I kind of go, why am I doing this?
Well, how attracted are you to that 4.5 foot tall Chinese twink?
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is more accurate if you're playing Genshin than Star Rail.
I play the video game to play the video game.
Yeah.
You know? And like if I need to goon, I can go goon.
You can goon over there.
You can goon over there. You can
goon over here.
There's a goon corner. There's a couple, you know, you can do whatever you need to. Yeah. Anyway, so it's when you're no, nothing wrong with mixing business and pleasure, but there's a point where I did not play FF12 and see the fully optimized way of going about it.
That game is crazy. The way that Gambit system works is nuts. I understand both why I hated it when I first encountered it and why I loved it when I went back to it a couple years later. Because the idea of like, I taught my team to solve problems without any input from me is hilarious.
As long as the first domino can be something, you know what I mean? Like, as long as I'm doing it, though, I guess, is what it is.
Well, what's really funny is that the banner character for Star Rail right now, her special field ability is to delete enemies off the field without a fight, like Ryuji in Persona.
Oh, wow. Okay. like on the field.
Yeah, so she becomes
okay.
like the best character for like running the weekly roguelike challenge because you can just skip 80% of the fights.
I suppose at the same time too, like if you are not changing what you're doing at all in the fight and you're like, depending on if it's like a system like RPG-ish where you're kind of like run into the fight, do a fucking Luminaire, everything's dead, fight's over. Then like there is a,
Yeah, I remember that part of Chrono Trigger, like the 80th to 90% mark. When Chrono's got the highest speed, he's going to cast Luminaire, and if anything's still alive, Magus is going to cast like Dark Triangle or some shit.
Yeah, Dark Triad.
Yeah, and that's the fight. That's how I'm going to go through every single encounter in this entire dungeon in Zeal.
So no, I get that there's a repetition to that as well, but yeah, I guess it just like it there's a lot of scenarios where I can imagine myself just feeling like if I'm just here staring at the things going and then clicking the reward button, and like you're just trying to show me the dopamine back to back unlock, like it's not gonna work.
So well, part of that process that MiHoYo's really launched into is that beautiful graphics like really matter for this type of genre, because like, okay, let's say I got my phone in my hand, right? I have gone to take a shit and gone, well, I might as well do my dailies.
Okay.
So I hit the button, the train goes, 5 seconds later, hit the button. Okay, I want to do this daily. Bam. Autoplay. Now I'm shitting and I'm just looking at a bunch of flashing Chinese anime lights and pretty colors. And then it gives me numbers. And I'm done before I've finished taking a shit. And I go, thank you for pretty numbers.
Yeah. Even when I was
dopamine.
When I was playing Tekken a bunch, it would be like I wouldn't think, oh, let me do my dailies. I'd think I have a time for a match.
Yeah.
And I'd queue up and play ranked, and I'd do one ranked match against somebody, and you have to stay engaged.
Yeah.
On what's going on there, even if I'm like listening to something else or checked out or doing whatever, there's still a level of like, oh, what's the counter here? What do I got to do? There's minimum brain activity kind of required there.
So the fun thing about that is that for Star Rail anyway, like if I want to do like
Woolie has never really MMO'd, huh? It's
no, definitely not.
It doesn't grab me. It just doesn't work. If it did, I probably would have.
You'd fiend on it.
I've tried, and like I said, for me it was Grawl and fucking Ragnarok online.
Yeah.
Well,
just
for a bit.
Just wait till you're a little older, and just about 10 years from now, you'll start to slow down, and you'll get into competitive video game square dancing, which is what the MMO turns into at some point.
Someone's gonna make a stupid MMO fighter, and
it's called Project. Which one is it?
WoolieVersus?
No, the fucking League one.
Okay, but actually MMO. You know what I mean? Like it'll like someone will.
They're making an MMO.
2XKO. I mean.
No, like the Riot is making an MMO right now. It's one of their hidden projects.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
okay. But I mean, they'll make the one where it'll be all the shit and all the words it'll have frame advantage and DKP. It'll have both of those things. But yes, and Dungeon Fighter does exist.
Like I was saying, but when I actually want to sit down and play Star Rail and do like content, like real video game RPG shit, I have to have at least half hour, 45 minutes because the side quests are like real, and the story content is cutscene heavy, and dialogue heavy, and it's like there's this wild difference, like bang out my dailies, whatever, get my points, get my upgrade monies or whatever the fuck, and then it's like, okay, well I have some time, or I'm going to bed early and I have some time to fucking let's find out what Ron May is doing with her fucking anti-life equation in the fucking basement.
So in conclusion, Nikke and
MiHoYoVersus
peak gaming. Just beyond the shadow of a doubt. Yeah, it's called peak. The folder's called peak.
What is in here? Downwell, chest, Dicey Dungeon, Slay the Spire, and Super Hexagon.
Super fucking Hexagon.
Super Hexagon.
Yeah, that never changes. That is timeless. Does it still boot?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
okay.
it does. It was fucked up for a while, but then they fixed it.
There's a couple of games where I'm like, oh man, it doesn't boot anymore. I would throw Pinout in there. Did you get
I don't
into
know what
Pinout?
Pinout is. No.
Pinout is the pinball game that's like basically like Tron visuals and shit.
Okay.
But you're knocking a pinball up through a long ongoing pinball stage, and like you have to shoot it through the ceiling, and then multiple layers of level progression as you shoot your pinball.
The fucking company that makes Pinout is called Mediocre. That's hilarious.
It's incredible. And a banger ass soundtrack, unbelievably good soundtrack as well. If you like the music of Sayonara Wild Heart style, then Pinout is for you.
So while we were talking about this, the Zenless Zone Zero release date got leaked by Apple. It's in July.
Oh, did they not have one until
They
now?
did not have one.
Oh, okay.
They're doing that thing where they're running betas, but they won't tell anyone when the game is coming out. But people are figuring out, well, it has to be here. It has to be after this because it's the Honkai Star Rail anniversary, and you can't steal any thunder away from that. It has to be before this because that's the Genshin Impact anniversary event.
Right.
So it looks like it's going to be in July.
Oh my god, we're paying attention to phone release
Hell
schedules
yeah,
now.
dude. Hell yeah.
Oh my
There's
god.
a fucking asshole with a pompadour and a pile bunker in Zenless Zone Zero.
You have to click past the fucking cheerleader DLC outfit for Nikkei to get to get back to the soldier shooting. Yeah. All right.
So that's pretty much what I did. So traveled with baby, loved baby, saw parents, came down here, saw you. Hello. Phone games.
Balatro for a phone needs to drop and just cleanse
I
the
may
earth.
have done something
Just cleanse the earth.
irresponsible when I was visiting my parents. because Paige asked my nephew, "Hey, do you have Steam?" He's like, "Yeah, I got Steam." And we're like, "What kind of games are you into?" And he's like, "This." I'm like, "Oh, you know what you'd like? Balatro." And then my sister like wrote it down. And she's like, "Yeah, we could check this out." And I'm like, that might have been like a fucking mistake.
Synapses firing.
That kid is 12.
Yep. The exact thing you're concerned about. Like, it's just that can grab you nice and early, man.
That's my sister's problem. That's you know.
Okay, but I was talking to Reggie about this. I'm like, at the very least, real life gambling doesn't have jokers that are gonna save you from your debt when the shark is coming to break your fucking ankles. You know, the joker's not gonna talk to you and be like, "Oh yeah, looks like you fucking cashed out." Like, yeah, no, that is something you can actually recommend to non-game players. And it might get its hooks in.
So like if my dad had a computer that would run Balatro, he's using like an old Surface that barely boots, I would show my dad Balatro because my dad's the kind of guy who played like solitaire for fun, like for realsies, and would just bang out a game of solitaire or like Hearts against Microsoft in like 5 minutes.
And again, there's nothing that pops up when the game is happening that would make a very serious blue collar man go, "What the fuck is this shit?"
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
You're looking at cards, and then occasionally a little joker talks some shit. That's it.
Seriously, that Balatro Android and iPhone port has to show up because that's gonna be like problematic to workplace productivity when that happens.
What stakes are you on?
What stakes? Oh my god! So what I did is I beat everything on red stake before going up.
Yeah, horizontal. Yeah, I did that too.
So I only did the first
one,
but I got through all the cards. Some of them were much harder than I expected. I thought the red and black deck was going to be a cinch. I thought it was going to be the easiest deck. Flushes aren't good enough to carry you all the way to the end of anti-8.
So like once you start, so I did the full horizontal, like everything on red, and then I picked one and then just started going up. You know, it was green. I think I picked green or yellow. I forget, the one that gives you money for every leftover discard.
That's green.
Yeah. And you get to like, I think like purple ante or so. It's like the second to last or third to last from the top. And you're like, money, you get no money for the first blind on everything. The stakes get higher faster. You get less discards. and the game changes and becomes something else entirely, where your strategy for like I go for flushes, I go for straights, I try to build a full house, whatever. You have no discards for strategy. You have to make the best of every hand you get, which means you have to upgrade all your things that you can get kind of evenly.
Yeah, you can't just celestial your way down to 3 of a kind 10 times in a row.
And the whole game up to that point had been finding one winning busted combination of jokers and just blasting through it.
Yeah.
Now you need to spread yourself.
Now you have to
thinner.
play poker.
You have to actually play poker.
No, I don't want to play poker.
Yeah, well, too bad.
I'm not playing Velatro to fucking play poker.
As you get higher up, you have to start diversifying your strategy and doing what you can with what they give you. You know. I mean, and if you get lucky enough to get extra discards, that's great. But like, it changes and gets so fucking hard when you lose discards. You know. So like, yeah, there's walls, and like, I'm firmly stuck on that. But we'll see.
God, that changes. Like, there are some of the cards that I really liked, which is like, hey man, keep this card in this Joker in your hand and get $2 for every discard you haven't used, right? And you do that with green deck, and you're getting like $5 per fucking discard. And that shit just doesn't work anymore, I guess.
Dude, there are jokers that get introduced on, like, I think 3rd or 4th blind, where you cannot destroy or sell them.
Oh, I don't like that.
There's a mark that says this is a permanent joker. So every time you pick one, it's stuck forever.
Even if it's some stupid bullshit.
Basic, low level.
Like madness.
You know? Yeah. So, here's the thing.
Yeah.
So madness, which is it eats a joker every time.
Right.
It doesn't eat locked jokers that can't be destroyed. So you get the madness buff without actually losing the joker that has the little thing on it.
So then you want to get all unkillable jokers.
For that specific build, if you have the madness joker, yes. Otherwise, you're fucked, you know? But on the plus side, you get that multiplier on madness going up even if you don't have a joker to feed it.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. Oh!
Yes.
Ooh!
You get it regardless.
Okay.
So yeah, and if you ever buy 2 jokers, you can still use one of them because it eats them one at a time. You know,